Mostly, when you're fired from a job, it pretty much sucks. You mope around for a bit and then finally get the courage to look for another one. But seems like that wasn't the case for Bam Margera. In fact, in a recently released podcast episode, the actor said that getting fired actually did him good. In today's video, we'll be talking all about how Margera really felt about getting dismissed from Jackass Forever. So, let's jump in. First up, the skater reveals that he's better off without Jackass Forever. Bam Margera recently appeared on Steve-O's podcast, known as Steve-O's Wild Ride, where he was pretty open about his journey to sobriety and the sentiments he shared when it came to being fired from Jackass. Full disclosure, the interview we're talking about right now was recorded about a week or two after he came out of his year-long substance abuse treatment, which, as you know, happened quite a while back in May. But in any case, it's still the star's first appearance since this entire fiasco went down. So, what did Margera say about Jackass Forever? While in conversation with Steve-O, who also happened to be his former co-star in the franchise, Bam said that he was very happy not being a part of the movie. Now, that's a quote for the sizzle reel. We wonder what could have happened that led the star to say this. But before we get into that, let's take a closer look at what exactly happened. Bam Margera was associated with the Jackass franchise for a pretty long time. In fact, it was the show that earned him his popularity in the early 2000s. The now 42-year-old skater was one of the stars of this MTV reality stunt show since it began in 2001. He also appeared in the sequels and films that followed, along with being given his own show on MTV called Viva La Bam. Okay, first off, whoever thought of that title deserves a raise. Secondly, you'd think that someone who's been with the franchise for 2 decades would be indispensable, wouldn't they? If things were really going that well, then why did they have a sudden change of attitude? In 2021, news came out that Bam Margera had been dropped from Jackass 4, as he apparently violated some wellness agreement he had going on with the producers. After his dismissal, the star ended up filing a lawsuit against the executives at the show claiming wrongful termination. It turns out he had a lot to say about his now ex-franchise. Margera alleged that during the show, he had to face terrible and discriminatory treatment at the hands of his colleagues, who also forced him to sign the infamous wellness agreement. According to this agreement, the actor had to get regular drug and alcohol tests done. Apart from this, he was also advised to take certain prescription medications. Well, things didn't really work out well for the parties involved, as Margera's test came back positive. Now, there's some contradiction in the statements here, as according to the actor, this positive was due to him taking Adderall for an attention deficit disorder. And that, dear friends, was why he ended up being dropped out of Jackass Forever. Now, that sounds like a pretty terrible situation to be in. Steve-O, his co-star and friend, campaigned pretty hard to get Margera back on the film, but it seems as though the producers just won't have any of it. Even though the star was glad to have someone by his side, he was sure that he didn't want to be a part of it anymore. It seems that things got pretty ugly for Bam in the franchise. Things between Jackass producers and Margera weren't really great when the skateboarder was shipped off to rehab. The 42-year-old, in a recent interview, pointed out the hypocrisy with which he had been treated towards the end of his time with Jackass. He shared an incident from 2014 where he was arrested at the LA International Airport, where instead of telling him off, they gave him a high five as it was good press. He even opened up about how the producers even encouraged him to do drugs at one point in the show. Now, that sounds seriously problematic. He personally believes that he got kicked out for being a liability. But turns out Margera is actually over all of it and is doing pretty good for himself. He even mentioned that he's never felt better. Now, let's take a look at how Margera is doing now. Well, you'd be happy to know that his suit against Jackass was settled last April. The exact terms weren't clear, but we're happy that he's leaving these things behind. That is some super good news, since his struggle with substance abuse often made way to headlines. Bam, as it turns out, believes that it was fate which got him kicked off, further adding that everything is meant for a reason and I'm much better off not being in it. He has fully moved on from that chapter in his life and seems like he won't be going back, even if they come knocking at his door. He even said that he didn't even want to do this in the first place. Now, that's surprising, but as of now, Margera has completed a 1-year substance abuse program. He feels as though he's on the right track after realizing his problem. All this comes after his interview with Dr. Phil, where he mentioned that rehab wasn't for him. His journey with substance abuse has had a large number of ups and downs, but it seems like he's trying his best to reach a stable point now. Well, good for him, honestly. Addiction and substance abuse is nothing to be taken lightly. That's all we have for Bam Margera and his complicated relationship with the Jackass franchise. Now, let's catch up on what else has been going on with his life. Here are some other news items. First up, Margera proved that rehabs really aren't his thing with a second escape. Earlier this year, Bam Margera took the internet by storm with the news of his escape from a Florida rehab facility. Well, thankfully, he was found by the relevant authorities 2 days later. Maybe the rehabilitation center should consider going over their security again. It seems Bam was was hiding in a hotel room nearby. It's a relief that he didn't end up in any danger and was safe and sound. His admission to a rehab facility was part of the court-mandated program, but from the looks of it, he wasn't really satisfied with the facilities they provided. Nope, that's not an attempt at an insensitive joke, but Margera's actual complaint to the management. Apparently, he'd informed them of his displeasure with the restrictions just before escaping the facility, which then again begs to ask the same question, why were they not more careful? Well, anyways, while on the go, Margera made sure to update his fans regarding his well-being. He was continuously active on his social media and even posted pictures with Machine Gun Kelly and his wife Nicole Boyd after escaping. Honestly, at this point, it seems like everyone was taking this program a bit too lightly. Next up is Margera stuck in a Britney Spears-style conservatorship. Since last year, Margera has been in and out of many rehabilitation programs. Many are worried as to how the former Jackass star is doing, especially after the recent stunt he pulled in Florida. After reports of him being missing started circulating, the internet did what it does best. Yeah, that's right. Many people started a rumor mill and blew things out of proportion. The most prominent one that found its way on the internet was that the star had been placed under conservatorship, similar to that of Britney Spears. You might have heard of the 13-year-long hell that the singer had to go through, where her father imposed unrealistic restrictions on the star following her public meltdown. Seems like fans, for obvious reasons, didn't want Margera to face such problems as well. The rumor caught some serious momentum when it was revealed that the star had been placed under the supervision of a temporary healthcare guardian. His family has denied any such thing and has requested privacy at this time. Lastly, Margera and his family speak up against the Free Bam movement. Steve-O's podcast's recent episode with Bam Margera has managed to clear up a bunch of rumors. This is especially true when it comes to the Free Bam movement some of the fans had created to protect the star from an alleged conservatorship. The family released a long statement as to how the movement was actually causing problems for the family and Margera himself. In his interview, he clarified things, stating that no one forced him to go to rehab. He also said that the details regarding why he's under the supervision of a healthcare guardian have been kept confidential for reasons. Apart from this, his family explained that the movement was actually harming Bam, as the people who were involved in it were encouraging him to leave rehab. It seems both his family and Margera believe that this is a private topic, and the decision-making process shouldn't be really left to the public, who's not really aware of the situation. Well, we hope that he's getting the right sort of treatment and soon will be able to live a healthy life again. That's a wrap for this video, guys. What do you think of Margera's thoughts on Jackass? Do you want him to return to the franchise? Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more awesome videos like this.